You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hey, welcome to episode 103 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Shawn Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Welcome back. It's another fun and exciting episode, unpredictable as always, of the Soul Forge. It's episode 103, as I mentioned in the intro. I'm your host, Shawn, and with me today, who do we have here?
The great Rubino Heat.
Oh.
Just call me Rocks.
My brother.
Yes.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well.
Excellent.
Doing good.
I'm glad to hear it.
Thank you.
No problem, I guess.
Yeah, no problems.
Okay. So what we're actually here to do is episode 101 was a big existential crisis episode for me. Episode, I think, 99 was you talking about your future endeavors.
Yes, that's right.
I figured what we would do this week is have a lighter, more fun episode. Last week's was really awesome with Lisa. That was got a lot of good comments about that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But this time what we're going to do is have a fun, light episode talking about my trip that I just went on.
That's right.
Maybe do a little bit of an update on you and where you are a month later since that last recording.
That's right, yeah.
And we might as well just jump right into it, I suppose.
Might as well.
Okay, so what should we start with?
Well, the great getaway. The brothers' road trip that didn't include this brother.
That's right. Very sad turn of events.
Yeah.
As many of our listeners will know, you and me, brothers as we are, and Curtis, the middle brother,
Brother Curtis,
in 2015 we went on our first excursion together.
Yes.
We went hiking.
Yeah.
Because
that was an excursion already.
It was an excursion. Curtis had asked both of us probably for the last 10 years or so. Did he ask you too? Was he always bugging you?
Yeah, he always did ask me.
Hey, this is Dr. Trek, Larry Nemechek, and you're listening to Soul Forge with Shawn Vanderloo.
Okay, to get back on track, I just had an interrupted phone call from my dad there. So I think we were talking about Curtis and asking us to go hiking for years.
That's right. Hiking and camping.
So we did that in 2015.
We did.
In 2017, we had a road trip, and the three of us went to Cedar Point and to see Blondie and Garbage live in concert.
That's right.
And actually, that was the time that we recorded episode 13 or 14, the brother interview.
Yes.
Yes, that was just as the Soul Forge was getting going.
And now that I think back on it, I've almost died on both of those trips. So you can just count me out for the next ones now.
Okay. So you didn't make this one.
No.
Because Curtis and I have a different father than you.
That's right.
So you didn't go. So we went with our dad.
Yes.
And why were we talking about this?
Because this is the
update episode.
No, this is your episode about the trip.
Right. But why were we talking about the other road trips?
Probably to lead up to this one.
Probably, because that phone call from my dad just totally distracted me here. I don't know what's going on.
Which should have been an episode all in its own.
I should have recorded that.
You should have.
I should have put him on speaker.
Yeah.
Yes. So, anyway, Dad is still out there with his girlfriend.
Yes.
Because, so to get to the whole road trip scenario, last Friday I worked and then I drove to the Sioux, which is about 5.5 hours from here in Timmins. And so Saturday morning, Curtis and I went to Dad's house. Curtis's wife, Debbie, dropped us off. And we got the motorhome all ready. And we're out of town around 11:30 on the Saturday morning.
I would like to point out, I was going to come with you.
Yeah.
To get dropped off in the Sioux.
Yes.
And stay there for the weekend.
Right.
But then I had to work.
You did.
At Club 147.
47. 47. 47. 47. 47. 47. 47. 47. No!
which is just a blasty blast. I enjoy it thoroughly, actually.
So you do have a job now. You're a weekend bouncer.
I'm a weekend bouncer.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's
at,
right.
At the club.
At the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This motorhome that we're in.
Yes.
It's a 1985 Empress by Triple E, a 40-footer.
Wow.
And it was a death trap. It was a rattle trap. It was a big old beast. We got looks everywhere we went because nobody's seen it in this century at all. But we got in there and it was fine. We made it. We went through North Bay. We went through Ottawa. Near the end of the driving night there, Curtis and Dad were up front. The wipers started getting slower and they were all freaking out. And so figured we better get into a parking spot and stay there for the night. So we pull in, I think we're in Pembroke at this point.
Okay.
And we pull into the Canadian Tire parking lot, and Dad's trying to find a spot, and he's turning into a parking spot, and the motorhome shuts down as he's turned into the parking spot.
Wow.
And he didn't even have to turn the key off, and the thing is dead. And you can't start it, and it's 9:05, so everything is closed down at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we couldn't even go into Canadian Tire to look for parts or know,
Right.
and it was pitch dark, right? So we fell asleep in the parking lot of Canadian Tire in Pembroke.
Wow. What
Yeah.
timing, though?
Right.
Like, that was...
Yeah, couldn't have been better timing because
Right.
he was afraid it was going to kaput on the highway. And then
Just because of the wipers.
because they were slowing down because I guess the power to the systems weren't getting there.
Oh.
So he thought about it all night, didn't sleep, was freaking out, was afraid that he was ruining our trip. So he thought about different scenarios. Is he going to rent a U-Haul and we'll just go out in a U-Haul, leave the camper there? We're going to do something else. Who knows what.
Yeah.
So anyway, in the morning, we go have breakfast and he starts looking at the engine and stuff. And turns out it was a wire to the starter or something that had frayed and fried apart.
Ah.
So there was no power getting through the systems.
Gotcha.
So we changed the wire. We got a boost and we were on our way again.
Oh, good. Good.
So uneventful for the next couple days. One more breakdown in Bangor, Maine. This time we had
Bangor, Maine.
Bangor, Maine, the home of Stephen King. I wanted to go find Stephen King, but didn't, of course. But we broke down, and
He's going to write a novel about that now.
probably some nice guy. We flagged him down, and he took Dad to go buy a new battery and some other pieces and parts from the auto store a mile down the road.
Yeah, right on.
And so we replaced the battery, boosted it up, and we're good to go again. And there was no more breakdown incidents. Only 2.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Not bad for an almost 40-year-old vehicle.
Yeah.
And since Dad's a mechanic, and we had an adult with us to take care of us, so I wasn't worried.
Right.
So basically, after the first breakdown,
Don't worry, Curtis would have had to
taking care of things.
taken care of things.
Yes.
He would have.
He feels like an adult.
Yes.
I asked him.
He's very adultish.
Yes, I asked him, does anybody feel like an adult? I asked my dad. No, of course not. I asked Curtis, and he's like, well, yeah. I'm like, okay, of course. But long story short, I was afraid that because they're both control freaks, I was going to have a horrible excursion. I didn't.
Well, that's good.
Dad was on his best behavior. Curtis and I got along just fine. We went through Ottawa. We went to Quebec. We bypassed Montreal and drove down through New York.
Nice.
And saw a little bit of the New York countryside.
Oh, yeah.
And then we made it, I think the next state over is Vermont or New Hampshire. One or the other, I can't remember.
Oh, one of the fancy places.
Yeah, you know.
Where all the highfalutins live.
All the highfalutins live in Vermont and New York and New Hampshire and stuff.
Yeah.
We took a ferry ride across Lake Champlain
Ah, yes.
from one state to the other. I can't remember which now. And then so we drove through, anyway, it was New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. The houses. My, oh my,
Yeah.
brother. Such big estates. I don't know if they had plantations or servants or what, but these houses were like 3 or 4 houses smucked together, and they had they looked like from the 1800s,
Right.
and could have been carriage houses. Who knows? But gigantic.
Yeah.
So many windows, large lots, the funky spinnerets and minarets and all kinds of weird architectural styles that you just
yeah.
don't see anymore.
Right. They were probably all brothels.
Maybe. We didn't stop.
You didn't.
No. It was a lot of driving, not a lot of stopping.
Right.
So we saw rocks and trees and things. These big houses, rock walls, like you see.
So you guys like would stop how often, hours wise?
We would stop for gas every once in a while, and if we needed some food.
So that was it though. So you weren't really.
I kept pointing out antique shops that I
Yeah.
wanted to stop at, and I think we stopped at 2. Most of them were closed. Turns out you don't travel to these places in May because nothing opens till June.
Oh.
But since
Interesting.
we didn't do our research, we did not know this. But we did see. You ever watch The Shawshank Redemption?
Yes.
Okay, you know the part near the end where Red goes out to that field and Andy says, "Go to this rock wall."
Andy Dufresne.
There's a lot of hay fields up there. One in particular. It's got a long rock wall. A big oak tree at the north end. It's like something out of a Robert Frost poem.
Exactly. And
Andy Dufresne.
Thanks.
Andy Dufresne.
Good job, buddy. So, you know the rock walls that
Yes.
are like fences for farms?
Yeah.
So many of those
Yeah.
in those few states that we went through. And lots of trees and lots of hills. And you know what I saw?
What?
On the way from Timmins to the Sioux
Yeah.
on the Friday, I saw a baby bear on the road.
Oh, a baby bear.
And I'm famous for never seeing any animals ever.
Right.
So I saw a baby bear on the way there.
That's incredible.
We went to St. John, Newfoundland, and saw the Reversing Falls and all kinds
yes.
of deer. And in the I think it was just outside of Bangor, Maine, we saw deers crossing the road
Oh,
from
yeah.
one rock wall to another.
Oh.
It was very I don't know if rustic is the word, but it was very like Walt Whitman and Ralph Waldo Emerson kind of nostalgic kind of looking places.
Okay.
Lots of old cars everywhere, just rotting in people's yards.
Ah.
Very sad. What else did I see? On the way home, driving from the Sioux back to Timmins, I saw a baby moose on the road.
Oh.
So I got to see all the animals this time, and I never see them ever.
That's different then, eh?
It was very different.
Very different. When you see a moose on the highway, though, that kind of fills your underwear a little bit too.
Well-
just not a lot, but just a little bit.
He wasn't on the road.
Oh, okay.
He was off to the side, and it was a baby.
Wow.
Yeah, he was
That's
just
different,
just
but-
looking around.
Yeah.
In St. John, Newfoundland.
Mm-hmm.
I think is that Newfoundland? No, we didn't go to Newfoundland. It was not St. John's, Newfoundland. What's the other one? St. John, New Brunswick, because they got too many St. Johns over there
Or
on the
Nova
East Coast.
Scotia and
Yeah,
New Brunswick.
wherever it is. Anyway, there was
Prince Edward Island.
the Reversing Falls.
Oh, the Reversing Falls.
We saw in New York. We saw the Asable Chasm. Took some video. It's on my Facebook feed.
I did see those.
If any of our listeners are not following me on Facebook, they can. They can look up Father Son Road Trip 2019.
There you
For
go.
all the pictures. Ended up in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Went to the
Decent.
famous Peggy's Cove.
Yes.
It's a bunch of rocks with a lighthouse on it and a bunch of tourists and colorful houses. So, I didn't actually buy anything. I got a couple
No.
things from an antique shop, and that's about it.
Really? Is that all?
Oh,
You didn't even buy a T-shirt from anywhere of these places?
I did buy some model glue at the Hobby Lobby in
Oh.
Bangor, Maine.
Oh.
Yes, I did, because we don't have a hobby shop here in town.
No.
So I needed some model glue to get back into model building
That's right.
because I miss doing that.
That was your thing.
That was my thing back in the day.
You did that a lot.
Yes. So long story short, we drove out there. Curtis and I flew back on Friday.
Yeah.
Lynn, my dad's girlfriend, flew into Halifax as we were flying out.
Right.
So they're still on the trip.
Yes.
And they're coming back. And Dad just called to talk about this amazing antique store that I missed. I'm like, thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
But he got me a brochure, so
Oh.
I have to go back out there now. So
The brochure.
the brochure.
Yeah.
Yep. So overall, it was a refreshing experience.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that.
I did. As we're recording this, it's Monday the 27th, and this will be out on Thursday. I had to go back to work today.
You did.
Everybody asked about the trip. Everybody said I looked happy and smiley and refreshed, and I feel kind of refreshed.
That's good.
I didn't want to go back to work.
Re-energized.
A little bit re-energized.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tomorrow I have my doctor's appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday I have my first counseling session.
Ah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yes.
What about you, sir? How was your week while I was gone?
Oh, my week while you were gone was very quiet. Would I say lonely? Maybe a little bit, but
You were lonely without Brother Shawn?
I was a little lonely without Brother Shawn. But at the same time, it was nice because I had the music on
You did.
all day long when I was home. It was amazing. Even at night when I went to bed, the
Yeah.
music was on.
Really.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between the two of us.
yes.
You like to listen to music at all times,
Yeah.
and I'm very selective and hardly listen to it at all.
Yeah, it's a very weird dynamic, and
But I think
It's-
that's probably the only thing that we don't really agree on.
right. And you have a very interesting taste in music,
I've
and
heard that before.
you kind of like a little bit of everything.
Yep.
And we have agreed on quite a few bands as of late, which really surprises the hell out of me.
And you know what else we can agree on? We can agree on listening to this promo for another podcast right here on the ESO Network.
I'm Drew Leiter,
And I'm Cletus Jacobs.
and we're inviting you to check out our podcast, the Earth Station DCU. We talk all things DC Comics, television, movies, and news.
We'll give you weekly comic recommendations and keep you informed on what's going on with DC TV and movies.
We are part of the ESO Network. You can catch a new episode weekly on iTunes, Google Music, Stitcher, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
What did you think of that promo?
That was incredible.
Are you not going to go check out that podcast?
I'm going to go check it out right after we conclude this episode.
No doubt. All right. So yeah, back to music.
Back to music.
You are surprised by my...
Yeah, like, it blows my mind how much music you do like, but you don't ever want to listen to it.
Right?
You're very seldom want to listen to it. And like, when I borrow your car,
Yeah.
the radio's always off.
It has been...
And I'm like, how can you drive in silence?
I'll tell you. I discussed that on the... Did you listen to the Existential Crisis episode?
Yeah.
Because the music has been driving me absolutely batty the last little bit.
Yeah.
But on the way there and on the way back from the trip in the 6 hours, I listened to Guns N' Roses, I listened to Britney Spears, I listened to Andy and her Black and White Heart.
Oh, good. Good.
I can't remember who else I listened to. But just a bunch of eclectic different things, and then some podcasts, of course. So it didn't drive me crazy that time. I think the trip, I just needed to get out of Timmins.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while I was gone, you were lonely, but you listened to music.
I was lonely, but not lonely. I know how to keep myself entertained.
Good.
And
You built a fire pit in my backyard.
I did build a fire pit in the backyard, yeah. Because I yearn for a fire.
Yes.
And I feel that it will be a very nice way to kick back and relax.
It'll be beneficial to our mental health, if you will.
And very beneficial to our mental health.
Yes. Now we just need a fire permit
Yes.
and some wood.
Well, I would have got a fire permit, but it has to be the owner of the house.
Does it?
Yes, I looked it up online.
Okay, that's me.
And that's you.
Oh,
and you weren't here.
I was not here.
And I was like...
I was many miles away.
You were many miles away, and I said to myself, darn it, I can't have a fire until Shawn is back.
Yeah, is that exactly how you said
That's
it?
exactly how I said it.
Oh, darn.
Oh, darn.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Oh. So, the good news is you started working weekends as a bouncer at the bars.
Yes.
So that's good.
That's good.
You also went today and got your first shift notification for Value Village.
That's right.
So you'll
yes.
start tomorrow.
Start tomorrow. It's only part-time, but one step at a time, because I'm still waiting on other callbacks and other full-time positions.
Because you have had other interviews.
Yes, I have.
So things are progressing.
Things are progressing, I would say, pretty well. My stress levels, that weight that I feel like I was carrying on my shoulders.
The weight of the world.
The weight of the world. That heaviness has been mostly...
Depleted?
Depleted now.
Good.
So I've been a lot happier, or in a better mood, I would say. Cheerier. The last couple of weeks I've noticed as I've kind of adjusted more to the...
So moving in with Shawn was a good choice.
I think it is. I think it is a good choice. So far, so good.
So everybody who's sad should just move in with us, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think that's a good
maybe
idea.
not. There's no room for that. Sorry.
There's not.
If you're sad,
There's
you can
no-
come visit, but you can't stay.
There's no room at the inn.
There is no room at the inn.
Sorry for your luck.
That's right.
I guess.
Yeah. So all in all, things are improving on my end.
Things are looking up.
Things are looking up.
My stress melted off from my trip, and hopefully the counseling will further enhance the good feelings that we all feel.
Although, dare I say, it probably has to deal with the weather.
Because it has been sunny and bright.
It's been sunny and bright a lot lately, which has been great.
Yes.
And that whole seasonal depression thing
Right.
kind of fades away.
Yeah, people tend to have a lot of that.
Yeah, guilty as charged.
Right, yes.
So, maybe that's part of it.
It could be.
Definitely feeling more yay, though.
Yay is good.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
So, woohoo for that.
Right on.
Yeah.
So we're both in better positions than we were over the last several weeks.
That's right.
previous.
It would seem that we have brought each other's morale up, if you will.
I believe you might be right.
And your getaway was probably needed.
Oh, was it ever? I could have used another week.
I think you were ready to choke me out when I moved in, and I hadn't even been in yet. So,
but it wasn't your fault.
Right,
It was
and I knew
just
that.
everything.
That's why I didn't take it personally.
Good, because you know me.
Yes.
For the last 33 years.
Yeah.
But everything I talked about on Existential Crisis episode 101 led up to that.
I did the artwork for that one, by the way.
You did, on your Photoshop abilities.
On my Photoshop abilities. That was me.
That was a good job.
Thank you.
Yes, all rights reserved, Robin Cool.
That's right.
All right. So yeah, so there's that. I don't know what else we can update the listeners on. Just everything seems to be on the up and up.
Yeah.
Things are getting better. You're getting employed. It's almost
Gotta get
June.
that bread.
What?
I gotta get that bread.
You gotta get the bread.
I gotta get that bread.
Buttered on both sides?
Buttered on both sides.
Yeah,
ching
brother.
ching.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. So I guess that's pretty much it. Everything is okay.
Yeah, everything is okay.
Yeah, I think it is.
Feels
And
okay.
And if it's not, I'm not worried about it right now because I can't worry about that. There's nobody got time for that.
Yeah, ain't nobody got time.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So we're not going to worry about it. We're going to just look upward and onward. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And it's Monday, so you know what that means. It's Racho night.
Oh yeah, you're going to watch wrestling and have some nachos.
Exactly.
While you watch
You get
Raw.
it.
I get
it.
I do know what that means. Unfortunately. Because it lasts till 11 o'clock. And the
I know.
TV is right outside my bedroom door. That's
so
terrific.
loud.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because you shut her down.
Oh yeah. I'm
Shut
tired.
her
I've been walking all day. As the song says.
As the song says, yeah.
So, yeah. So I guess we're going to wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what we're going to do. Go have some chocolate maybe. Who knows? Maybe look into building a fire illegally. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that.
That would just, no.
We would never do anything illegal.
No, we wouldn't.
That would be bad.
That would be bad.
It would be. So we won't do that. I'm going to let this sit for a couple days and
let it stew.
And let it. Your chair is really squeaky.
Yeah, it is.
So anyway, that's a good time to end the show. I'm going to take Bishop to the circus this week.
Right.
And other than that, everything's wonderful. I hope our listeners are having a great time. Oh, before I go, existential episode.
Right.
We got some great comments from Dan.
Hello, I'm Daniel Peter Hitch, author of the Bubbles the Pirate children's book series and the Connected Worlds Chronicles. You're listening to the Soul Forge podcast. Keep forging your soul.
Dan, the
ice cream man?
No. I'm going to put his little clip in there.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I paused. And then, anyways, you're making all the behind the scenes stuff really awkward here, brother.
I know, I'm sorry.
Okay, so anyway, had a good discussion with Dan and had a good discussion with Richard from Australia. He left a great comment. You're just cracking up. Great comment on the episode link in the Facebook page for SoulForge. So listeners, if you haven't checked out SoulForge on Facebook, do it, because Richard from Australia leaves great comments, and Dan's a great guy too. Go check out his books. And until next time, remember, only put off until tomorrow what you are willing to die having left undone. This has been another episode of the SoulForge Podcast. Find us on Twitter at SoulForgePod or email the show via soulforgepodcast@gmail.com. SoulForge is a production of Shawn Vanderloo and Friends. You can find Shawn on Twitter and Instagram at Darth Vaderloo. Remember to visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links and share the show with everyone you know. Thanks for stopping by the Forge. We'll keep the fires lit until your next visit.
One resident describes her horrifying experience when she first realized the complex was on fire.
I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Well, I woke up to go give me a cold pop. Then I thought somebody was barbecuing. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus. I ran for my Jesus, Jesus, Jesus is a fire. Lord Jesus is a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus is a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus is a fire. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.